Hi everybody, so Oscar and I here today. We want to show you guys, some of you guys have gotten the 4-bar bass solo, and then we're going to show you how to upgrade to the 5-bar solo pro and upgrade the power driver from the 630 watt power driver that comes with the solo, 4-bar solo, to the 5-bar solo pro into a 750 watt driver set. We're going to start it with a 4-bar solo already installed with drivers mounted on the side. That's in our classic 4-bar solo configuration. And what you will need on top of that is an extra bar identical to the bars we have. 3 DC connectors that will connect to each circuitry on the bar with each color code on the bar, and we'll show you how that does. Effectively, what we're doing is we're using these connectors to expand into an additional port on the already existing 4-port connection on the 4-bar solo system, so that by the time you connect this one single end to add the single end to one of the DC ports, you get 2 more DC ports that allows you to add a new connection to that line. So that's probably the most confusing part of it, but once you get that done, the rest of it's pretty easy. It's disconnecting the power driver that was already there and installing the new power driver, which is mounted in between. So without further ado, we'll do one step at a time. This is already fully configured 4-bar Solo Pro. So what we're going to do is quickly disconnect the power driver system, the dimmer connection cord, because that you can keep that will be easily used again for your dimmer system. And we will disconnect the AC drivers that's of the AC input power that was already there. One. So now you just end up with your regular AC input power cord disconnected from the 3 drivers. You have the regular 4-bar system. These rabbit ears are easily adjustable. Unscrew one of the rabbit ears. We like to pick between this outside of these 2 bars. They start with 4 bars, right? Outside of the 2 bars, by twisting the rabbit ear, you're able to pull a little bit. I could give you a little more space and connection part. What you want to do is you want to find, I don't know, go ahead and show that there's a slider connection piece. You want one of those slider connection pieces that was intentionally left there for us to add this new bar on. You want to have that slider connection piece, and then I'll go ahead identify. And then there's the 2 wire connection part and the red wire side. So go ahead and disconnect on your end, Oscar. Just one. Grab one of the extenders, connect it into the newly opened DC line.
By adding in this small extender here, we've increased the number of ports, so now we can add our 5th bar in and it has a place to receive power. I did the red spectrum here on my end, and Juna's working on the blue and the green down on his end. Once we get all of these open, we can add the 5th bar in and plug it into the rest of the wiring of the line. It's important to take a look inside of all these connections. There's a small square at the top or the bottom to ensure that the connections can only screw in the correct way. If it's upside down, it won't go in. So look inside, match the tab on both ends, insert and screw down tightly to ensure that you have a waterproof seal on all the wiring.
You will end up with the 2 new connectors with an open port. With the new open port, you're ready for mounting the new bar. So in this case, new bar goes across.
Make sure that the red end is on the red end and the blue and green end is on the blue and green end. So with each 5th bar addition set, you'll have a small bag of hardware. Inside of this bag, here's Jin's piece, there is a small rabbit ear and also a set of hooks that will mount the bar onto the frame. So it's a very simple installation. We find the slider inside of the frame that we were talking about earlier and set the hooks above the slider so that the rabbit ear can screw down and fasten it. Always remember to have the hooks up so that the light can hook onto them properly. I tend to tighten it down to just below snug so that it's easy to move back and forth until I have the bar set where I want it, and then you can tighten it down for good. And when placing these bars into the frame, it's good to put the bar on an angle so that the bar can sit down into the frame correctly. Alright, and now that the bar is in the frame, we can position it onto the hooks.
Sits on the flush.
And it should sit flush on the hooks, and then we can screw down that rabbit ear to put it into a permanent placement for light usage.
We're going to add the power driver here later on. So this is adding the bar.
So now we'll take the power cord coming off of the bar, again matching up our tabs, and we'll add it into that last port that we had just added into the wiring system. So now our red Spectrum is fully hooked up on this bar, and Jin is just working on finishing up the blue and green.
In the we're using a more of an R&D cover. In the stainless steel cover, the size is much bigger. It's double the size here. You can reorganize these wires right inside the cover. We won't be able to do that here because we're using more of a non-R&D version. But the one that you guys have is a stainless steel cover that protects the wiring cover. The size is it's double the size. It's very large. It's really easy to reorganize these wires right inside the protective seal. Next step, we start with the new power drivers. New power drivers also comes with some hardware. It's basically 2 more rabbit ears that's always connected to the 750 watt upgraded power driver. So the smaller power driver is for the red, and the 2 large power driver always have, like we had before, the color codes on them. It will tell you exactly what the 6500K and the 4000K color coding, or the green. The 4000K is for the green or the orange on your dimmer control, and then the 6500K is your blue, and the red is the smaller power driver. It comes with 2 rabbit ears again. It has a very simple clip-on, so basically you just screw right into the connector inside the groove. Okay, let me like before, your AC input for the power drivers are always standard 3-prong. So let's go ahead and connect the DC end first, and then the DC end has the color-coded matching your DC cord. In this case, the DC cord, just like the first time we installed it, the DC cord is here, disconnected from the old DC driver before, and connected. So DC is always 2-prong, male, female, and there's always that key that Oscar mentioned that allows you to match exactly the direction that you're supposed to connect them with a little bit of key on connection. By connecting the 2, screwing tight, give it waterproofness. On the DC side, from the previous driver, you have the DC output and the dimmer. And again, dimmer just goes, it's the same dimmer as before. You're just connecting onto the dimmer box. In my case, this is the blue 6500K. Again, there's that key that matches it. Cook and snap on. Total of 6 set of wires. There's as you guys, first time when you guys put it in, There's 3 sets of DC, 3 sets of AC, 3 sets of dimmer. Total of 9 wires. Very easily snap down. Now everything, when it's 3 dimmers and all the DCs are connected, you already connect into the AC. AC, again, so 3-prong AC, that's easily connected to, along with all of the pigtail that came with the lights. Original pigtail, nothing's being switched here. As you connect them, you will notice that lights are starting turning on. Boom. So, of course, you want to probably spend a little time reorganizing your wiring a little bit, but effectively what you've just done is you have increased from a 4-bar solo system to a 5-bar solo pro system, and also provided a power boost that went from 630 watts to 750 watts of power on a 5-bar boosted power system. We do recommend you can send these drivers back. If you have these older drivers with us, we have a driver recycling program. Also, if you guys don't want to send back the driver recycling program, we can send you, these drivers are still good for additional Solo Pro, as well as our other lighting components, such as our Veg Light series of lighting, which will send you a separate video and some other information. Again, hopefully that was informative. Let us know if you have any questions. Thank you.